welcome to Enterprise Morning on Enterprise Television. Thank you for joining us as we bring you key stories shaping Nigeria today. I will begin with a brief review of the newspaper headlines and then move into our main discussion. You know how we do it on the show now. So you can join the conversation by liking, following us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. You can as well share. Thank you. So I am Kende Bodering.
And I am Henry Igubike.
All right, so joining us this morning is Barrister Evans Ufeli, who is a barrister and a public affairs analyst. We also have Mr. Emeka Madunagu, who is also a journalist and a public affairs analyst. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Barrister, who joins us from Ontario in Canada, and Emeka joins us from Lagos State, Nigeria. Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for being here. Truly do appreciate your time, and good morning to you all.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Thank you. All right, beautiful. So let's kickstart with the Punch newspaper for today. We have the big story: travels. The presidency spends 34 billion naira on forex in 2 years. We have a rider to that story. Foreign trips, the aircraft maintenance cost fall as FX purchases plunged 83% in 2025.
Wow. On the top strip, we have coup. I was marked for arrest, assassination, and this is coming from the defense minister.
And also close to that story, DHQ faces heat as military personnel bypass airport checks.
Okay, we have Ondo in fresh battle over oil-rich boundary island.
Yes, and after the outcry and what happened against the protesters, the Makoko protesters, we have it that Lagos Assembly to meet community and leaders on Tuesday. That is tomorrow, isn't it? Yes, beautiful. Yeah.
So we also have Oshu Assembly, APC chairman clash over local government funds. Wow.
All right, so let's kickstart with the big story. Travels. Presidency spends 34 billion naira on forex in 2 years, and we have it. The story equally is the same with what is on the Daily Trust newspaper. Tinubu abroad, 22 days in 1 month. That's actually very scary. I'd love to start with you, Barrister Vance Ufeli. What do you make of this, really? That a president who said it is his turn, he understands better how to translate Nigeria, make it a wonderful country, is spending more time in a foreign country than doing that in Nigeria. How do you explain that, Barrister?
Yes. He's doing that because he feels he's the only one competent to rule the country. That has been the approach of this president. And little wonder they are trying to deal with the army right now that made an attempt on taking over. That is not to say I support the army's those who plan the coup, which they denied before now. But it's part of it. First, the president is not in control of the country. That's the truth. Not in control. He's not even in control of our foreign affairs. Because most of the country he goes to, when he comes back, he promised that investors are coming. We have not seen any investors till today. Remember, some time ago, he said two investors have come to sign. The date, we've not seen anything. So, gallivanting around, moving up and down from one place to another, to places where he's called and places where he's not called, and then sometimes falling up and down. It's what he feels governance is about. Instead of sitting down to plan the economy of the country, to pull the strings, the right strings, and do the right thing to push Nigeria forward. What he's doing is moving up and down. Appointments are haphazard, not getting even the right people. The economy is in bad shape. He's not able to project politically. And all we've seen is shambles. And then you keep talking about tax, and all that. So it's an unfortunate situation we find ourselves. And to say that this is coming at a time where So many countries are trying to put their citizens out of poverty, to bring them into abundance, and to create an avenue for good governance across the globe. I mean, look at the discussion in Davos. Look at how nations prioritize its citizens. Okay. Look at how leaders are thinking, okay, across the globe. Ours is not that case. We are even the worst hit in terms of economic fortune, prosperity. But our leaders are not thinking at all. You can see our National Assembly. You can see our ministers. What exactly are they thinking? What exactly are they, what is the blueprint for Nigerians' growth, for the emancipation of the citizens, the economy, the prospect? What is the plan? What is the blueprint? Where are we going to? And how are we going to get there? What are the blocks being put together now for where we are going to? How do we redeem education, our people from poverty, bring them into light and education? How do you prioritize the people's need and their wants, electricity, education, all the things that government should prioritize? We're not doing any of that. We're just gallivanting. And it starts from the head. Once the president is not getting it right. I know there are a lot of people who say, no, it's the president, somebody told me yesterday that he's the father of modern democracy. That Tinubu is the father of modern democracy. The people in Nigeria even speak much more highly of him than people even outside. The people who are really suffering are the people who speak highly of him. He must have a very devious political method that he uses to oppress and crush people. At the same time, they praise him. They move from all their political parties to his own political party, and they keep doing that and that. Just see that going on. You just ask yourself, what exactly is this man using? Is this politics? What exactly is this? What is going on? You can't really tell what's going on.
Emeka, Henry, I don't know if you ever imagine having this huge amount of money, invested in Nigeria. It could be in our economy, it could be in our tourist centers, it could be anything that would even help the citizens. So just imagine that we have this huge money invested or put in this economy. In fact, other countries will come and, as in, they will bring their mattress, they will bring everything that they have, and they will dominate this. They will stay here for a very long time. So over to you, Mr. Emeka. So what does this 34 billion naira travel spending say about governance priorities?
Well, let's first of all accept the fact that in governance, travels are an important part. Yes, officials must travel, the president must travel, vice president and others for different engagements. Now, but it now behoves on those people occupying those offices to look at the situation on the ground. This is the age of technology. Yeah. You can actually, do a road show on the internet. If, let's say, you want to maybe privatize, maybe you want to sell one asset, like this Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. Now, let's say you want to publicize it and bring investors. You understand? Yes. You can actually do a road show online without stepping out of Nigeria. It's as simple as that. There are consultants, you can just pay a little money, and they will do serious razzmatazz for you. All that intending investors need to do is contact their embassy. The American embassy, all the embassies have, they have adequate information, updated information about the business environment in Nigeria and about everything, security situation and all of that. So you don't need to say you're going to meet foreign investors to come to Nigeria. There are people already here who will tell them, this is it. So spending such money, flying to where? to achieve what? The other day, President Donald Trump of the United States was giving his scorecard and talking about how much investment he had brought into the United States since he started his second term.
Yeah.
Now, what have these people brought? You see them, they keep struggling, to look for, things they can claim to have achieved. But for a government that has achieved something, you don't need to struggle hard. So they're just wasting money and having a jamboree. They've been to COP, the COP summit, on the environment. What have they gained? They've been to Azerbaijan, been to different places. What has Nigeria gained? South Africa today, much of the electricity production is from coal. But Nigeria, are we generating electricity from coal? The answer is no. And the national grid keeps collapsing. Whereas you have coal in Enugu, you have coal in Kogi, and maybe one or two other places. You have, different means by which you can bypass the national grid, and ensure that there's 24 hours power supply in this country, not just gas or hydro. But are they achieving that? They are not achieving it. So it just tells you that these guys are just, on a free show. And then now, let me tell you for free that the 2027 elections will be worse than 2023 elections because the IPoB, National Assembly under IPoB, has made sure that the Electoral Act, the amendment they are doing, will just be dead on arrival. It will be just like what happened in 2019. There won't be any Electoral Act before INEC brings out there, because INEC must bring us its notice of election this month, this February. If it wants to hold the election in February next year, it must bring it out. So that means it's going to have to use the 2022 Electoral Act. So that's why these guys are on the poll. But it's sad. It's sad, honestly. Thank you.
Very so sad, really. We can't overstate, some of these things, and it's riddled all over the newspaper headlines, especially with the Guardian newspaper, which we will go into right now. On the top should have Tinubu's reform saved 27 states from collapse. That's coming from one of his blind loyalists, actually. But let's get to the talking point here, in sympathical with what Emeka had just raised. The House defends a delay in passage of Electoral Act Amendment Bill. Barrister, speak to us on this. This should be a follow-up to what Emeka has just started. What's your take on this, please?
Yeah, Tinubu's greatest fear is the electronic transmission of results. That's his greatest fear. He doesn't want to, you see, when they were transmitting electronically during the 2023 election, he knew what happened, who the lead, what it was. And as at that time, he has not even started leading. He has not even come to destroy what is left of the country. So now that he has destroyed what is left of the country, now that he has ruptured the country economically, his greatest fear is that if reverse is used this time around, and if there's electronic transmission, there's a tendency, there's a strong indication that he may not even make it. He may not even win up to 2 states. It's a very strong indication. You understand? And so he does not want, you see, this National Assembly is doing, it's all planned out. The National Assembly are working in cahoots with the executive, the president in particular, to ensure that before that amendment gets on board, it would have been late. They will not be able to use it for the next election, and then you will see what will play out. I mean, if you look at it, the president cleverly has avoided it. The Electoral Act is not an executive bill. It's a legislative bill that has been with them in the House since. They are marked for amendment. The amendment has been with them since. But because of the fact that they need this next election to go by without that document, because in the new amendment, they have now made the electronic transmission compulsory. Okay?
Yeah.
Before now, the National Assembly made it look like it was compulsory. When the court now ruled, they say it's a mere guideline. Okay? And those sections now that enabled Tinubu, that enabled him going to elections, that have now been pinned down for amendment and now been amended. If you go into the election with those sections the way they are now, as properly amended, he has no chance. He has no chance. Even without the amendment, he still has no chance. Under any condition, he has no chance under any condition. You understand? But
Yes.
the Nigerian politics or election in Nigeria is by coercion, rigging, vote buying, all kind of vices. They will introduce all kind of vices. Just watch now, in the next quarter of this year, the federal government will introduce one intervention scheme. They will introduce one intervention scheme. And that intervention scheme, for you to qualify to get it, you have to show your voter's card, you have to show you are properly registered to vote, and you have to make certain kind of commitment before you get those empowerments. It will start in the next quarter, in the next half or next quarter of this year. In preparation for that election, it becomes, subtle vote buying, just like the Buhari government used Osibajo to propagate. That's one of the ways. And they've laid the groundwork already for the next election, using the chiefs, the obas, the community leaders, the governors who are jumping now to PDP. The president have used the resources of the state to fritter on them, increase their allocations, increase everything they were getting before. They are getting like times 4 of it. And now the president is the greatest president ever that ever lived, according to governors in Nigeria. Governors who even in their own state, their idea, their resources, they are not able to manage the resources of their own state and getting almost times 4 of what they used to get now. They will still not be able to use it for the benefit of the state. Rather, they will use it to propagate for the next election. So the Nigerian politics is that the people are left out of the equation. And when the people are left out of the equation, it's no longer democracy. It's no longer governance. So what you have is just a group of criminals stealing the resources of state to empower their families and to protect their future. That's exactly what you have. There's no other thing to be added to this. And the system enable it, because even the people who are the worst hit also praise them and enable them and make sure that they are protected. If you go on the X space now, or you go to the Facebook anywhere, there's a way you talk about the president and those the loyalists of that you will see the way you will be attacked, vilified, and those attacking and vilifying are people who have nothing, who are the worst hit, who you are far better off. Now you'll be asking yourself, what is happening to them? Why are they have been conditioned to act that way? They have been conditioned to be slaves, and they will continue to act like one. And that is their unfortunate situation.
It's unfortunate.
But it's just unfortunate because it's really a bad feeling when we have a country where the citizen want to really make things work out. We want to have our rights to vote, our rights to do so many things, and would even have this that would how do I put it, that would really take this country to another level. But it just looks like if we don't have a government that is not ready to take responsibility of that or cooperate with the citizens and all. So
but just before we go, we have less than 90 seconds to do that. Let's go entertainment now, but this time around take it to politics if it's possible. Just yesterday, Nigerian Afrobeat pioneer Fela Anikulapo Kuti was posthumously honored with the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2026 Special Merit Award at the Grammys. But the funny thing is, Bayo Ononuga and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu congratulated Fela for the award and said he was the voice of the voiceless. Now the question to you, Emeka, is if Fela was around with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu doing all that he's doing, what do you think will be the reaction? And how would President Bola Ahmed Tinubu go ahead to possibly take on Fela if he was alive today? Emeka, are you there?
I've been too old by now for that. You know, I've been too old. Because about Fela, whether alive or dead, Fela remains a movement. Fela was a movement. And that movement continues to speak. That's why you see people keep playing his music.
Yeah.
You know, people keep referencing his advocacy. And that's why the other day I saw one small boy, one kid, trying to equate himself with Fela. Honestly, I couldn't believe my ears. I mean, what's the meaning of that? What's the meaning of that? From where to where? No. So Fela's music continues to speak for him, even in death. So if he were alive, maybe, well, who knows? Maybe it would have been granted press conferences and all that, but these fellows right there, honestly, all that tribute they're giving to Fela is just ceremonial. They don't mean it. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Barrister, what's your last take on that? Especially as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is around holding down dissenting voices, and the cybercrime is still awake and really dealing with Nigerians. What's your take on this? If this was Fela at his prime and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the leader of the country?
Well, it was a good one that Fela won it. I mean, he has had many nominations whilst he was alive and after his death, but I didn't won it. But yesterday, at least, we didn't lose out completely.
Yeah.
Even though yesterday was not a very good day for me, we've all yearned for Davido to win at least the best African performing artist yesterday.
Yeah.
And Tyler took it again. Tyler took it again
for the second time.
And when you also look at the work that Tyler put out there, and her dancing skill, and her physique and her ability to make moves with rhythm, and match it with the voice. Match it with the voice. She deserves it. It's just that the competition is tight. It's tight because the song nominated, the song nominated too, is one that has been described even by Forbes as one of the greatest songs of all time. Okay, so I believe that someday the video will get it in the nearest future. Most likely because this year the workings for the next album for the year and all that is in great gear, and we're rooting for him. Most of us who believe in the video across the globe, we're rooting for him. It's a good one that Fela got it. Well, as to your question, that politicians don't have shame. Politicians don't have shame. Even if Fela were to be alive, you will see politicians when they want to talk. Just like when Attorney Joshua won the heavyweight, Ogun State said that it is their investment on Attorney Joshua that brought the belt. You understand? And when people do exploits, the federal government will jump into the middle of the fray and say that they will look for something to say that they've contributed and made it happen and all that. So, well, fine and good. We didn't lose out entirely, sadly, and I'm happy that at least those who will always want to compare Fela with Wizkid. I don't know anything Wizkid. The last Wizkid song that made any sense was Essence with Thames, and it was Thames. It was even Thames that gave it breath. Okay, that's what gave it breath. And the first Grammy that Wizkid won was the one he collaborated with
Beyonce.
what's her name?
Beyonce. Yeah.
Yes. That's the collab is what gave me. And when you look at it, I don't want to, because I know that there are a lot of whiskey FC here. You understand? But I should let them know that when it comes to Nigerian music, I am much more grounded in the Nigerian music, because they are the ones who are saying, no, whiskey. Because they too don't know fella. But I am from a generation X that know both sides. I know whiskey when it started, and I know usually, well, I started listening to fella's music as, well, I was 13. I was 13 there when I started listening to fella's music, just by the Electoral Republic, there, where Computer Village is now. That used to be one of the places he was before, and the place he moved from to that place before he then came to the shrine here. So sometimes when we talk music, we're talking not because we hate the modern musician, but because we have a knowledge of the two streams. Okay, yeah, those Generation X, those born in the 80s, we have knowledge of the two streams, and we can actually compare it. Yeah. But the Gen Z, they just know one way. They'll just tell you that whiskey's music is giving. As long as it's giving, it's giving. And they don't want to hear any other thing. It's a single story they want to use. And you cannot succeed with a single story in a generation where you have both sides. Yeah. So we're happy that it went well yesterday.
Yes, a great one. We are so excited for the win, even if no Nigerian, won. We had Omale, we had Burna Boy, we had Wizkid, we have Davido, and one South African had to take everything quite so aside.
But I just feel that maybe in the next one, we will take everything.
Yes,
because
well, we can't take everything because it's
we'll
just
take
one
everything.